Hello and welcome. This era podcast is just another retrocast, isn't it, guys?
Yeah, it's another one of them.
It's literally just another retro cast.
Yeah. Tune out now. It's all about the past. Don't even bother.
If you weren't there...
I was going to say, we got a Cutting Edge podcast, haven't we?
Yes, we do have another podcast. You're right, Paul.
Yeah, Cutting Edge one.
Called?
Oh, it's so Cutting Edge. I know it's out on a Tuesday.
Because it changes its name every week.
Yeah.
It's called The Snooze Button.
Oh, yeah.
Which is our TV pop culture movie news show.
Do you know why it's called the snooze button?
It's called The Snooze Button because we're snoo with the crew. And we had to come up with a name on the spot for a new show because he forced me to cut our podcast in half.
Yes, because it was about 5 hours long.
It was an hour and a half, 2 hours.
2.5 hours.
It averaged
hours.
about 2.5 hours, didn't it?
And now we've got 2 1-hour podcasts. So
it was a
what's the
meandering
difference?
white hot mess. It was like a Zack Snyder movie.
No, it wasn't. You only think that because you didn't ever listen to it.
Well, yeah, that's not true.
It is true. Anyway.
He used to listen to it and he was alone with the missus. You know, you put on the sexy time music. Our podcast we came on. That's what it was.
So yeah, this is just another retrocast. Tonight we're going to be talking about physical media and whether or not we're going to miss it.
Yeah.
That's if it's disappearing, I suppose. But yeah, if you like that sort of thing, stick around. Thanks for listening.
All the music.
Press play on tape.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode number 20 of Just Another Retrocast with our special guest, Mr. Jon Greenham.
Yay.
Yay.
Enthusiasm from
Such enthusiasm.
It's like the Cole Pilkington. Right.
What? Paul Brown.
All right.
Oh, fuck's sake. And Ross Murphy.
Hello.
And me, Chris Quinton. Hello, you bunch of fuckers.
You're gonna have to. You can't cut that out because you haven't got anything else to use instead.
I'll just cut you in from last week's show. Be fine. Not that you were here, Ross. Anyway.
Goodbye.
So, just another retrocast. This week we're talking about physical media and, well, the rise and fall, I suppose.
And rise.
And rebirth.
Yeah.
Straight away.
Yeah.
Do you know what's weird?
Go on.
Vinyl in Sainsbury's.
Yes,
Yeah.
that is very strange, isn't it?
But every time I don't spend. This is stupid because I don't really. Where I don't have a car, I don't end up with a lot of points on my next card. So.
Or your licence.
Yeah, that's good. That's true as well. So every now, if I get to Christmas, I might have between 15 and 20 quid on there. And I was like having a look in Sainsbury's yesterday, and I was just like, could buy Force Awakens, like the super duper deluxe edition, for £15. Or I could buy a reprint of What's the Story Morning Glory on double vinyl with a download link and loads of bonus stuff.
Really?
For £20. And I'm just like,
wow.
Oh. But then why would I be buying a physical version of music? I stopped doing that years ago.
No.
Have you got a record player?
Yeah, got a really nice record player.
Okay.
And we got shitloads of vinyl. Like, there's a picture, like, when me and Anna moved in and we set the record player up, we literally, it's just like the biggest pair of hipsters with all these, this vinyl and a record player, like a pair of knobheads.
Cool.
But I don't know. I'm in the process of moving house as well, so I'm like, going,
you'll realise.
I just want to burn it all. Burn it all.
Yeah, it's painful. I've still not stopped moving house yet. It's been a fortnight.
Welcome to my world.
Yeah.
But yeah, the resurgence of vinyl's a weird thing, isn't it?
Very strange.
Well, tape's coming back as well.
Tape's never coming
seriously?
back.
Yeah, I don't get that. I can understand vinyl because there's still an argument about quality of the sound and also, well, they're big and artwork, but...
Well, it's coming back apparently.
I've seen...
Go on. Tell us about the rebirth of cassettes, though, Paul, before we go to
Oh, no, I don't know a great deal about it. All I know is...
I know a lot of my brother's mates and his bands release... Sorry, but
don't.
I know something about this. I know my brother and his mates release their like EPs and stuff on tape.
Right.
Which to me is mental because they weren't good the first time round.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you can now get, as you say, it's become really trendy for bands to release things on tape. But I think there's something to do with, in a recording sort of angle, there is a certain quality of from the sound you can get from an analog tape.
Yep.
There's a warmness you can get like you would with vinyl. So in the process of recording, tape is really still really good. But as a a thing to use. I mean, I'm personally, affectionate of tapes. I love tapes, but I don't know why it would come back. I honestly, I'll be honest with you, it isn't as good as vinyl for me personally. But
I'd suggest that perhaps it's like John said, it's portable.
Yeah,
you can chuck it around. You're not going to damage it. Even CDs are, pretty fragile, really. Tapes are a little bit harder wearing, in my opinion.
You don't really need cassettes to return. They just didn't have the sound quality with them. They were good. They were, they were probably because you could finally take your music around with you. But there's no
your Walkmen.
Yeah,
on your Walkmen.
Oh, and also you can easily record things on it. But
yeah. Record off the radio.
And they're great to stick on the front of a magazine.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Weren't as good to stick on the front of a magazine as a CD, though, or a floppy disk, were they?
No. But I used to have a magazine with vinyl stuck to the front of it. Do you remember those floppy vinyls?
Yeah, actually, I think I might still have one around somewhere.
I had a Bruce Lee interview on a floppy vinyl. Loved it.
I've got an unreleased...
Don't watch the finger, or you miss all the
heavenly glory.
I've got an unreleased White Stripes song on red floppy vinyl.
Fantastic.
Around somewhere. It's probably worth about 80 quid. Better find that, and
I was going to say, whack it on eBay quick now.
Cool.
So,
Dead Air, like
yeah.
that.
So,
Dead Air. Do you remember that? Do you remember Dead Air? Before it could be cut out.
With the click of a mouse.
But the trouble is, it's getting cut out anyway, so,
Yeah, but that's just...
Should I just leave it in now?
Well, it's up to you.
Because you've commented on it.
Well, it could go in the Christmas specials uncut.
Just make sure you, for the next 45 minutes, you just keep bringing up that bit of Dead Air that Chris
I think
cut
maybe
out.
I should.
That'll piss him right off.
Right, you bastards. So let's discuss physical media and where it actually started.
Oh, fuck. Where it started? What, physical media?
Yeah.
What, were we going to go all the way back to the tablet where people used to carve?
Technically,
how far back are we going with it?
Moses went up a mountain and he spoke to God, and God cut him 10 commandments on 2 big slabs of...
Just not exactly what I meant.
God lectured him into writing it.
Let me
maybe.
rephrase that. Physical media and where it started for the sake of entertainment.
Well...
I suppose tablets are still going to be the same answer, I realise, but as in something that you could listen to or... watch.
It'd be the old gramophone, wouldn't
Well,
it?
yes, here we are in 1922, listening to something on the gramophone. It sounds a little bit like this.
I think you're supposed to talk through your hands when you say... Anyway.
There's still some podcasts out there that sound like that.
Yeah, there are.
Yeah.
Our first couple did.
Yeah.
One microphone in the middle of a massive room.
So,
Hello! Have you been watching anything this week? Yes. What have you been watching? Hang on, I'll just shout over to you. I'll fix it in post. No, you won't.
Is a string attached to your paper cup there?
Right, you bastards.
Right.
So, yeah, what I guess I mean, like, media in mainstream entertainment. So, for instance, the first thing that you could watch something on, I suppose, was VHS, no? Like,
well, you had a few,
tapes
didn't
before.
you? Yeah.
VHS.
In actual fact, Betamax was before VHS.
There was
wasn't
Super
it?
Tape, wasn't there? And then Betamax and VHS. But VHS only became super popular because it was cheap.
And it had porn on it.
Yeah.
The porn industry.
It was porn industry, basically.
We do owe quite a lot of our physical media
to that.
or choices of physical media to the
Yeah.
porn industry. Should we cover that in a bit? We'll come back to that because
Porn,
Cover it in what?
VHS.
Sorry, you can't say something like that.
God.
Just go on.
Right.
I'm going to take the mantle of the dad jokes this week.
Yeah, fine.
Yeah.
You carry on.
There's been loads of content point wars, hasn't there?
Content wars.
Yeah.
So the first one being
No, not content. What's the phrase? I'm
Media.
looking for?
Physical media.
Yeah,
platform wars.
possibly.
So
Mate,
VHS.
there was even bloody blank DVDs. You had plus and minus to start with,
Yeah,
didn't you?
yeah.
And then the DVD readers just could do both, so it didn't make any
Yeah.
difference.
True.
Yeah.
But yeah, the first one in memory then being like Betamax versus VHS,
VHS.
right?
Yeah, let's not do a history of physical media because it will just be conjecture and we don't really know. Let's talk about what we know.
What we remember.
Yeah.
What was...
So, okay, VHS then was the first. In actual fact, I do remember Betamax. I remember getting Betamax videos as well.
I never
from
had
the shop.
Betamax.
I never. It was still used for a long time in general well,
better
media
quality,
things.
wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was better.
That's
I
the
always
reason why it's
remember
still
it was just a
used.
weird small section in the video shop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, you're right. You'd still find it in, well, I suppose the equivalent of Blockbuster Video in those days, of which there were many.
Yeah, local video stores were just everywhere.
I
weren't
loved
they?
that. JR's video stores.
What was the
That
one
was
in
the one
Cowes
near me.
where
It was.
yeah, go on. Where
I was going to say there was Ritz and there was Blockbuster.
Ritz, that's the one.
Ritz.
I think that's the one where
Tattoo.
that shop is now. Is that?
We used
oh,
to
no.
go.
That's before my time.
We used to
then.
go to one
Don't
St
remember
Thomas's Square opposite the church in Newport, which means nothing to anybody listening to this podcast.
It doesn't. No.
that. No.
But I
Might
always
cut these
remember
bits
how
out, but-
they, to stop you nicking the film, they'd tell you how much they'd have to pay for the movies.
That's
and
right.
They were like 80 quid, weren't
Yeah.
they? And that was
Yeah,
like
yeah.
in 1985, 80 quid. It's like,
And that's all you earned in a year.
Recommended
Back then.
retail price £85, wasn't it? It's a big sticker on them.
But yeah, but video shops were everywhere and they were massive. And the point being, Betamax versus VHS, I suppose, it was weird because Betamax were at better quality. But do we have the porn conversation?
yeah, let's have it.
Yeah, it was that and the Video Nasties, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And Video Nasties.
Yeah.
They chose
It was
that
films.
format as well, did
Yeah,
they?
it was Driller Killer and Texas Chainsaw. I think were two of the
Yeah.
most prevalent
Well,
ones.
it's also Sony, because Betamax was Sony. They controlled the licensing of their tape a lot more. So
Yeah.
they were the ones that went, no, you're not going to put this on it. No, we're not going to let you build a Betamax video player. And so that's why that's why, understandably, the quality was better, because like Sony were the hot shit back in those days, weren't they?
Right.
Yeah.
And
And of course, they didn't want this sick filth on their machine, so so they all went to VHS.
Yeah, everybody wanted sick filth. And
Yeah.
Because everybody always wants sick filth.
of course
You know,
do.
that's the reason why we have a...
Internet.
have the,
Sir Tim Berners-Lee's like, I just really want a sick, filthy wank today. I'm going to invent the World Wide Web. I did call it the World Wide Wank, but they made me change it.
WWW. Anyway, yes, that's a weird one as well, isn't it?
Why we wank?
No, why WWW is shorter than World Wide Web when there are more syllables.
Yeah.
Anyway, so this is the reason why we have an online credit card payment system in the first place as well. Pornography, the very,
Really?
very first one was for a porn website.
Blimey.
Everything that we've ever bloody chosen or accepted as the new thing, as far as physical media that we can record onto is concerned, or pay for, is driven by our desire to have sex with each other.
Wow.
Or watch other people doing it for us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
mostly.
Yeah,
just,
yeah.
yeah. For us, it's mostly that. Yeah.
With large inflamed
I mean,
pieces of-
the first choice is normally the dream we have. Do you know what I mean? That's the main goal. But
the dream.
yeah, we settle for just watching.
I don't know where this has gone now.
Yeah,
I don't know,
where
really.
it's gone.
I just tuned out then for like probably 10 seconds and the whole podcast fell apart.
Yeah,
Anyway, go on.
I keep
So-
doing that a lot tonight. Yeah.
So VHS, that was great. Did we ever get Yeah, you did. You got VHS on the front cover of magazines sometimes as well, didn't you?
Mhm.
Well, that's
Yeah.
mental.
That was weird.
Imagine how heavy that magazine was.
And how much space they take up on a shelf.
Yeah.
Must be horrible for newsagents. I've got my tiny little shop. I've
On
got room for
reflection-
4 magazines. What?
VHS was rubbish, wasn't it?
No, it was of a very high standard, apparently.
It was very average, the standard.
Yeah,
was.
yeah.
It was great for its time, but like with cassette tapes, cassette. Some companies still do it. It's like, oh, limited collection this, and you can watch it on VHS. It's like,
The
fuck's sake,
quality's
why?
poor.
yes,
You watch it more than 4 times and then you start having to fuck about with the tracking.
Yeah,
on the
yeah,
tape.
yeah, yeah.
Then your video player gets a bit screwy and starts just eating
They were literally
movies.
good for
Nice.
100 views, I think, if I remember rightly, weren't they?
less. Well, it depends on what machine you had, I think.
And what you were watching.
How many times were you
Yeah.
around it to your
Yeah.
favourite scene, eh?
The best thing about tapes were
I have no, sorry.
the best thing about tapes, both tiny little audio cassettes and video VHS tape, was all how much you were prepared to spend quality-wise on blank ones.
Yeah, true.
And you'd be like, oh, I'll get these really, really good, expensive TDK ones and it didn't matter because if you creased it, then your game wouldn't load.
Yep.
Or if you recorded Top Gun off the internet, off the TV on ITV,
Stuff
your
of
dad would
dreams.
pause a sex scene out of it anyway, so it didn't matter how good quality it was.
Did that happen?
Yes.
Brilliant.
Wait.
So it's recording, and he pushed pause because he knew the sex scene was coming up. So he's
Yeah.
already watched it
Well,
himself.
so think about it.
Surely that's not on.
Back in those days, you've already hired that movie.
It wasn't even that
2
dirty a
years.
scene.
Yeah, I just listened to our old podcast where I talk about how mental my dad was.
Just trying to think. It's like, no, of all the films that I know she's showing her boobs in, that wasn't one of them.
He wasn't allowed to watch He-Man
No, not He-Man.
because
He-Man
of
was
Skeletor.
alright.
Dungeons and Dragons.
What was
It's
Dungeons and Dragons.
No, Dungeons and Dragons, and the big one was Thundercats.
Thundercats?
Because Mum-Ra was the
Was the
ever-living source
ever-living-
of evil. He literally was
evil.
he's fairly demonic, isn't he?
He's a bit mean, isn't he? He's not. No,
He's like you can't get like more stereotypically baddie than Mum-Ra, can you?
no.
True.
It's a fucking vampire that lives in a mummy's coffin. It's like, should we roll all the baddies up together? Yeah, what should we do? Put him in there and make him the ever-living source of evil.
Yeah.
The end of Playtime with Plasticine bad guy.
Yeah.
Just all rolled up together, stuck in a pot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything Hammer Horror ever did in the 70s
And more.
and more.
I've still got some VHS, only a few,
Have you?
because I don't really collect things. But
Is-
I've got all of my versions of Star Wars ever that I've had.
Really?
There's about 4 different ones.
Okay. Are they worth
still
some
got-
bucks?
Yep.
Yeah. Well,
Are they, Paul?
Yeah, depending on which one you've got. If it's the original first,
I've got the Star
shop
Wars
release.
that came out where only Star Wars came out, so its box is completely different to the rest of it.
Right.
yeah,
So it's probably-
if it's the one you'd get in a video rental store, if it's one of them, yeah, they're worth. In fact, that goes for all movies. If it's the first release that you'd find in a video store, that they're worth money. There are collectors out there, and there's a lot of collectors for VHS at the moment. It's I understand the charm of it though. I mean, they were as a physical thing, they were very appealing. You don't think?
I think I miss the covers.
That's what I mean.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I miss walking into a video shop, and it still
And
works with
admiring the
DVDs.
artwork.
It does, but looking at stuff like staring back off the shelf at me
Exactly.
and going into the section where I probably shouldn't be looking at films because I was much too young. What's that you've just pulled out there?
Check that out.
Is
Paul's
this?
got Paul's brought a prop.
Oh my god!
In fact, I've got a bookmark in there. Have a look at the
Book of-
title of the
yeah.
first book in there, the video in there.
I remember
the
Video
Hodge
Dead.
Schiefer VHS video cover art. What is this? Like a
That's well,
encyclopedia?
Various
encyclopedia of nasty VHS covers.
Yeah,
Okay.
but it's not just encyclopedia, Chris. Open it up. It's the front and back of every video.
Oh wow! Look at
It's
that.
amazing, isn't it?
God, yes.
Have a look for the bookmark in there. There's a title in there. I thought that just look at that aerobicide
Oh my god! So is that aerobics
and
workouts that will
homicide.
kill you?
Yeah,
Okay.
Wait, is it Star? Sorry, just looking.
Who's it star? It stars Marcia Kerr, David Campbell,
No, it's not one. thing,
Fritz
I'll say.
Matthews, Ted Pryor.
Do you know the alternate title to that book? The 101 movies you definitely don't need to see before you die.
Do you think?
Yeah.
I'm gonna try and track them all down.
Oh god! Look at that. My god. That is definitely the 18 section.
I think I've seen Foster Academy.
Boobages everywhere.
There was a lot of that in the 80s.
I remember.
I remember
that.
joysticks.
I remember that cover. They still call me Bruce with a guy riding along the street on a bull.
No, it's because the artwork it's good. Because again, pretty much just before DVDs turned up, they stopped using actual paintings. Yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah, this is it. I mean, a lot of these were for better or worse, depending on the artist.
Yeah, but
I mean, some of them were really badly done, but had an awful lot of charm.
Well, it's that 80s thing where gradually everything was hand drawn, wasn't it?
Hand drawn and
yeah.
neon.
Including video game artwork back then, but then it just sort of moved over to graphic design by the end of the decade, hadn't it?
and they just relied on floating heads, and yeah, it sucked.
I've just turned the page to one that I used to own, actually, Gremloids. Remember that movie? It's
No,
a
it was
Star Wars rip-off with...
crikey!
With the guy that looks like the bloke that just ran for Member of Parliament in London.
Yeah.
What was his name? Buckethead.
Yeah.
On the front cover.
No, I'm actually trying to track that one down at the moment.
There you go. Anyway, yeah, that's cool.
There's some beauties in there. So, yeah, what's the name of the book again?
Is Fritz the cat in here, by any chance?
He might be. I've actually think I've got Fritz the cat, and
Paul,
I've got a copy of one of the other.
Can you take some photos of that?
Yeah, I reckon.
Put it on our Facebook page.
I recommend that to any of our listeners. It's fantastic.
What a book! So,
has it got Ghoulies and Ghoulies 2?
I think it has. Yeah,
fantastic.
Yeah. In fact, I still have one of my favourite B movies on VHS. I won't get rid of that. I love it.
What's that?
It's a film called The Uninvited. No, it's not to be. These are quite a few uninvited films out that title. This one was produced in 88, 89, and it's about a creature that escapes from a lab and ends up on a yacht.
Uninvited.
It's uninvited.
Didn't have a ticket.
It's mate. I ain't got words for it. It's incredible. In fact, I think the whole film is on YouTube. Please check it out. It's just fantastically bad.
Okay.
I won't even start. It's my second favourite. Dreadful movie.
If I can find a link, I'll stick it up.
Do it
on our Facebook page.
I'll try and find a link and send it over to you. It's fantastically bad. There you
Cool.
go. Flesh Gordon.
Flesh
Gordon.
Gordon.
Anyway, right. So, after VHS, what happened?
DVD, wasn't it?
But
they were coexisting for a while, weren't they? Are you going Laserdisc?
Yes.
Yeah. Now that's still sort of around.
Laserdisc.
Hugely popular in Japan, wasn't it?
What, Laserdisc?
Mm.
So, what was Laserdisc? It creates a digital copy of... It stores a digital copy of a movie, right? So it's DVD, but with less capacity.
My understanding is that it's essentially like a DVD, but it was huge. It was, I think, weren't they slightly bigger than a 12-inch vinyl?
About the same.
There's two different types of Laserdisc.
There's one on a cartridge, isn't there? And one, it's a free...
The big one, the big, massive, like record-sized one, that was... I remember that being the first Laserdisc.
Right.
But there was a CD-sized one as well.
Oh, right, okay.
And that came later. No, there was the CDI, but that didn't release many films, because that was Panasonic's... Philips' attempt to... create a multi-in machine.
The CDI, yeah.
So, or is that what I'm thinking of?
It was really low quality, though, wasn't it?
So, and to get a movie on there,
spend a ridiculous amount of money.
You'd have to like put a movie over 4 discs or something.
Pretty much.
Yeah. They lost close to $1 billion making this machine. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I remember going into the electronics shop and seeing like a golf game and some, because you could play a golf game on your TV remote using this thing.
Yeah, on the CDI. Yeah, the Philips CDI was, it was meant to be a really big machine, wasn't it? There was a CDI and there was the... I've got one at home. It's ridiculous. Anyway, Panasonic machine. 3DO.
Yeah.
And they were the rivals of 3DO. They were rivals. And it was small little video clip. So it was games like Mad Dog McCree and things like that.
Yeah.
It were just small video clips that were just really badly rendered. And that was the future.
Well, yeah, Philips, like I said, they did, I think it was 20 or 30 films, but it just never took off. No one was buying it for the films, they were buying it for the games, which is even more ridiculous.
Yeah.
Mini disc. Sorry, do you remember Mini disc? He hasn't. Oh, he's dug out his old mini disc.
I've got a box here of mini discs.
Wow.
When was the last time you saw one of these?
Do you know we mastered...
2001, I actually remember.
I mastered my first album on a mini disc.
Yeah?
Yeah.
They're very good quality.
They're not. They're really compressed as shit. They're like 128 kilohertz, aren't they?
Okay.
No, do you know what I loved about the mini disc?
Yeah.
Is they became the equivalent. Like, once we'd gone past tapes.
Yeah, they became
CDs,
the new tape, didn't they?
CDs were shit in everything unless they were in your home.
Yeah.
They were shit in your Walkman, they were shit in your car. Mini discs were brilliant.
True.
I had a Kenworth Mast mini disc head unit in my old Golf GTI. Right. So the most ridiculous sentence I've ever said. But do you know the best thing about mini discs? You could just throw them around in your car like they're tapes.
Yeah.
Like one thing you can't do with a CD is take it out while you're driving, find one that isn't scratched to bits, and then put it in. Mini disc, you just whip it out, chuck another one in like you would.
Chuck that one in the back seat.
Would you done when you had your throw it over your shoulder, anything. Just skim it across the passenger seat so it falls into the side pocket of the passengers with the rest of them. Do that with CDs, they're right off.
Yep.
And you can't go over any bumps with CD. Mini discs just lap it up.
There were CD players, weren't there, that played.
It took
with
10 seconds.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, cache it up. Yeah.
What do you call that?
Just a cache.
Cache.
Like a time cache. But oh, sorry, I'm just meandering now.
But I'm noticing.
I loved mini discs.
Go on.
So what happened to mini discs? That's again another Sony design, completely proprietary thing that Sony made, because they kept doing this, trying to get the next big thing. That turned into what was called a UMD that is in the PlayStation. No,
PSP.
Yeah, and that is probably the worst format ever of anything.
Yeah.
UMD. What's UMD?
Disc, mini disc, literally. Don't know what it meant.
It was like ultra mini disc, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay.
And games on the PSP ran on it. So, what would you do to save battery on a portable device? Don't make the games on physical media that needs to be driven by a motor.
Yeah, of course.
Also, don't put films on them. There's UMD films. So they literally, there are movies that have been put out that for PSP, and they come in a tiny little DVD case. They literally the same case and everything.
Okay.
And they've got a movie on. So when you're like, it seems so stupid in this post-iPad world that you would go, I'm going on holiday, I'll take a bag of films to watch on my PSP on the plane.
Yeah, it was stupid because
You've got Transformers the movie, haven't
yeah,
you?
damn right, I have to.
The original Transformers, the animated one.
Yeah, the animated one, not none of the Michael Bay bollocks.
Oh, yeah.
I suppose that'd be a bit late for being released on this particular.
Yeah, I'd burn all the
format.
copies anyway.
But yeah, UMD, I think a lot of people saw it going, it was never going to take off from the start as a movie device, because they were charging the same price for a DVD, yet it didn't have the special features that come on DVD. And plus, I think, they were already getting devices out where you could watch shit on YouTube. Piracy was really taking off at that point. So it's like, why am I spending 15 quid for a film that, good chance I probably won't be acceptable to watch on the tube,
Well, not just that. I mean, you the mini disc was great. You could record any old shit onto it, couldn't you? What could you do with the UMD?
You couldn't.
That you couldn't, could you? That was it. So it was a redundant. The most successful formats were always I say that vinyl you couldn't record onto, but other than vinyl, everything else you could record onto. You could make your own copies.
Fair enough.
Do your own mixtape,
including DVDs as well.
Yeah.
Because you can just literally
mate,
say
I got so
anything.
good at copyright infringement on DVDs.
Yeah.
Mate, I used to print my own discs.
Yeah.
I had a little system set up where I could put you needed about 3 programs when it first happened, because you'd have to rip the movie, then pull the copy protection out, and then squeeze it down onto a 4.7 gigabyte DVD.
Yeah.
And I'd rip all the extras and the menu out, so it just played the movie
Yeah.
with the one audio track, so it's the best quality. Yeah, and then I had this massive wallet full of DVD, which is madness, because if you ever saw my DVD collection before I sold it, it was like 10 times larger than any copies I had of anything.
Right.
But yeah, I just sort of recently, I know I probably don't want to move on to this yet, but like recently, I've just gone, no, I think all of my physical media is going to go in terms of movies.
It's because you're moving house.
I'm going to keep the Blu-rays.
You're panicking about it, aren't you?
I'm going to keep the Blu-rays because I don't have a lot of them, and they're really good quality, and there's not a better version of them yet.
Yeah.
But even them, I'm going to rip to my Plex server at like 25 gig files.
Right.
But I've got mind-bendingly quick internet at home.
Right.
And
you wait until you get to your new house.
12.
What's out in the sticks?
12
You'll be lucky out there.
12 terabytes of storage on my Plex server. So I just go, I could watch Force Awakens by putting the Blu-ray in, or I could just click this button and download it a 25 gig version of it anyway. It's actually, my internet's so fast, it's quicker for me to just download something that somebody's already ripped of what I own than it is for me to rip it myself.
Right.
Now, in that process, do you miss at all looking at the wall,
Yeah.
looking at the spines,
I've got
pulling
something to
something
show
out?
you.
Yeah.
What I really miss are these. I've got a video game in a big box.
Okay.
Monkey
What's
Island
that?
2.
PC game.
It's no, it's a
Amiga.
Commodore Amiga one.
Okay.
But just open it up and have a look inside.
Is it
Oh,
like 12
Jesus,
discs?
weight on that, isn't there?
But it's not that. It's what I love about
Booklet.
it. It's the same thing with vinyl. Is how much real estate there's on the box. So the detail
Yeah.
in the and everything that comes inside. You open up a game now,
There's not even a
and,
manual.
and like there's not even a like. And some games are like PS Vita games. They come in a box about a bit bigger than a fag packet, and they've got a cartridge in about the size of an SD card, and that's it. And you're just like, at this point, why?
Right.
Do you know, I can't even be bothered counting how many discs you got
I
in
think
there.
it's about 12. I think it's 12. on Monkey
ridiculous.
Island.
And then you got
Two.
two books.
And it's Monkey Island 2 we're looking at here.
2 books. Oh no, 3 books. And a code wheel
For piracy.
for piracy. And as much of a ball ache all that is, and it's not very convenient, I fucking love it.
Yeah, it's beautiful, isn't it?
I love the process of that. And that's the thing, that's what we're getting. We're getting a trade-off for convenience to the whole kind of immersion.
Yeah.
That's what I'm finding. See, I've still got DVDs at home. I've got a whole wall of them, and I love that. But I do love to go to bed of an evening and just go, yeah, that's coming straight off the server. I'm watching that.
Right.
And the convenience of that, but I do still love that interaction of the physical.
This game's in such good quality. I've still got a mail away competition thing unfilled out on it.
Need to send
But
it
this
off.
is an absolute masterpiece and one of the greatest games ever made. That's why I own
yeah.
it.
So is this from you? Did you buy this originally for yourself to play?
I bought this after... Well, obviously when I played it on a Commodore Amiga, I copied it because that's all people did.
Yeah. But so you
I
bought this in
this
adult
late.
life, did you?
I bought this once I had actual money
So as a
for
collector?
being an adult.
Or
But quite
as
a long
collection,
time ago.
A piece for your collection?
Yeah,
or
I probably
something?
paid... I might have paid like £20 for it.
Okay.
But it's worth probably quite a bit more than that now,
Yep.
Cool.
I imagine, in that condition.
Yeah.
But it's also got one of the best covers of any game ever. If I was ballsy
Oh,
enough,
it's
I'd
great.
have that as a tattoo.
Yeah,
It's
fair
just
enough.
fucking amazing. But look at the detail you get on the back of the box. Like in terms of, you can't go and you don't need to now. You just go on YouTube and watch a video if you want to see what a game looks like. But back in
Yeah.
those days, you had to go, "Oh, look at the graphics on that. That's amazing."
It's true. You don't really get graphics on the back of game boxes and stuff anymore either, do you?
No.
No, it's like well, you
No.
don't.
Well, they don't tell you enough details about the game.
It's like you don't read a video game magazine for its reviews and screenshots like you used to.
Yeah,
Mm.
true.
You read it for its long form content,
Yeah.
like interviews with developers and stuff.
Yeah.
That's what makes Edge magazine brilliant, is all of its long form editorial, not its reviews.
Yeah, sure. So yeah, floppy disks. What?
Well, yeah.
What
so
destroyed
they
those?
sort of came
I
in
suppose
between.
that's-
CDs killed them, but they definitely got a foot in way after tapes, didn't they?
Yeah.
They did, and Apple had their own version as well, didn't they? What was that called?
Amstrad had their own version.
Did
Yeah.
they?
Right, it was
There was
there's three
loads.
discs, yeah?
Don't get me started on
Yeah,
this.
the old floppy discs like you had on the BBC micros at a 5 1/4 inch.
Right.
Right. Floppy discs you get now are 3.5 inch.
Yep.
That floppy disk in there is a 3.5 inch disc.
Yep.
Amstrad had their own proprietary disk drive, which ended up in Spectrum because Amstrad ended up buying Sinclair in the end, didn't they?
Yeah.
And it was 3 inch.
Okay.
And it was in all the Amstrad word processors and stuff.
So Apple's one must have been much later. It was called the Zip.
No, Zip Disk wasn't made by Apple.
Was it not?
No, it's made by a company called iAmiga.
Yeah.
Ah.
They utilised it quite a lot.
Yeah, I
Mac.
had my first Mac had a zip drive.
Yeah,
Zip
there
drive.
was a period where zip drives became ubiquitous enough that they were being put in stuff, and I think they eventually got to the point where the tech was good enough that it would read a floppy disk. You'd have one disk drive,
Right.
because back in the day you had a zip disk on an old bloody big serial cable, and it had its own power pack and stuff.
That's right.
And people were like, got a zip disk over here, back up all my floppies on it. How many?
Yep.
100. And then there was like a seven.
There was
Then
the
there was
super
like a
drive.
750 gig 750 gigs, 750 megabyte zip disk came out as well.
That was a super disc, wasn't it? I
Yeah.
remember buying them.
But then once writable CDs came out, killed it dead.
Killed it dead.
Right.
But rewinding our way back, while the battle of the floppy versus the 3/4 inch discs, you had the Sinclair micro drive.
What was that?
That was a tiny cartridge about the size of your thumb, right? And it had tape in it. You'd click it into the machine. And
What,
it
like a Super 8?
but
But
tiny.
it was
Is that what
only
it's called?
like it had
Tiny.
tiny little no, because Super 8 tape was 8mm.
Right.
This was about
But it was about
2 or
2
3
mil.
mil. Yeah.
I
It was
meant, I
even
mean,
thinner than a tape.
I mean an 8-track when I say Super 8, actually.
I know what you mean.
Is that what he meant?
No, but again, 8-track is like that because it was big, fat, chunky tape, wasn't it?
Don't know.
Yeah, it's a bit before our time, isn't it?
Yeah, a little bit.
I know they had players in cars. It was huge in America.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but again, quality.
Yeah.
Quality is way better than tape. What do we call tapes? We call them tapes. But what is
Tapes,
the
yeah.
correct
Cassette.
phrase? Yeah, but
But yeah,
what size were they?
because there was quite a few different types of cassette at the time, weren't there, as well?
Nope.
I suppose
There
it's
is
just
a correct term, isn't there?
Yeah.
What is it?
Oh, someone's Googled
Yeah.
that right now. People at home have already Googled it. Don't
Yeah.
worry. We don't need to even bother. Someone out there has already got the answer.
Because like tape they recorded on music in a studio was different, and then like tape you shot home movies on was different.
Yeah, you had reel to reel, didn't you?
Oh, is it a DAT? D-A-T?
No,
Digital audio tape?
No, that was something
that
else
was
that
something
came out.
later
That
on.
was,
We used that for mastering as well.
that was
right,
again,
okay.
that was like an industry specific thing.
Yeah.
Probably Sony again.
Yeah,
That's what I'm thinking of. It was DAT, but yeah. So if it's not that, then I don't know.
that was mid-90s.
The compact cassette.
Yeah, I suppose
Which
that
is
must be
found
it.
on
There
Google.
was a YouTube channel. Not that anybody needs to know this, but there's a guy called, I think it's Old Tech or Retro Tech, and he looks at all the different versions of. And in Japan, there was loads of different versions of the audio cassette for home use.
Right.
Loads, weird ones.
Just different sizes and things.
Yeah. Do you remember that whole thing? You had the micro cassette as well, the micro VHS, and you'd have
No.
a converter, and it plugged in. So
Oh,
you'd had
it's for your video
yeah.
recorder and stuff, for your camcorder
yeah,
and
but
stuff.
they had the same sort
yeah.
of thing for audio cassettes. You'd have a little tiny cartridge, it was reel in there, and you'd have a standard size cassette, and you'd open it up and flip it. So instead of carrying loads of cassettes around in your pocket, you'd have one cartridge cassette for your Walkman or Walkman,
Yeah.
and then you put these different cartridges in, and you'd reel them up.
How bizarre.
Yeah, imagine doing that on a bus or a train or down the street. Fucking knackered.
Brilliant.
Yeah. So anyway, physical media. Is there any particular formats you're gonna miss big time? Because it's going.
I don't think it'll truly go away. I think there'll be, a small market just like there is for vinyl, because there always was. But yeah, I think eventually DVD and Blu-ray will decline at the same time.
They'll be replaced by something else, won't they? At some point.
Well, they're bitching about 4K now, but I can't see that happening. I think pretty much in terms of casual buyers, this is the last market. But
Hang on, can 4K fit onto a Blu-ray?
There are 4K Blu-rays.
There are 4K.
Right, there's a
Blu-rays.
few
But,
things.
yeah, I think you have to buy
I've
a
got-
new machine, don't you?
Sorry.
Do you
You
need
have
a,
to buy a new machine, don't you? Or...
Yeah, you would need to buy a 4K
Yeah.
Blu-ray player. Yeah.
Yeah.
right?
But I can see myself doing that for certain films.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if I ended up with a 4K TV, because I love like picture quality and that.
Do you know
and
what
sound and
size
stuff.
your screen can go up to if you're using 4K?
It's limitless, nearly, isn't it?
Is it?
Yeah.
So you could use it could fill a cinema screen, could it?
Yeah. The bigger the screen, the better with 4K, because then the next step's 8K, isn't it?
Right.
I read somewhere a guy said I read an article where a guy was worked for a magazine like What High For or something. He took a 75-inch 4K TV home, and then he said because of it's 4 times 1080p. He's
Wow.
like it's like 5 inches short of you having 4 40-inch TVs on the wall.
Shit.
And I'm just like, put that in my eyes. I just
like-
want that cinema.
It's like having Ned Stark in your front room.
Um,
And his
but like video
don't
games,
want
like
that.
I'm already hitting the point. See, I've probably got maybe 400 video games,
Right.
all on a wall, and they're mostly not collected. They're mostly bought and played.
Right.
Um,
But you keep
But
those
I'm
through
hitting-
choice.
I'm hitting the point now where the convenience of buying them on the PlayStation stores kind of taking over a little bit.
I was just going to say, so if you could...
If the price was competitive, I would, but I can always buy a new game box cheaper than I could buy on the store.
Here's an interesting point, though. Right, so with physical media, you've got your things like VHS and vinyl and stuff, and certainly like PlayStation 1 games and cartridges that are now increasing in value quite substantially because of their rarity and the fact that people have just discarded them over time. Can the same thing happen with Blu-ray and DVD?
I'll say yeah, it will eventually, but it just depends on how much the market declines, and depends again on the rarity of the release and whether the film itself had any interest or that release of a film.
Those things are always going to be relative, but
Yeah.
You find with like the better something, especially because of how many CDs and DVDs have been sold over the years that people haven't got rid of, like comparatively, like the attrition rate on vinyl and old 45s and cassettes was a lot higher than it has been on DVDs and CDs.
Yeah.
Because one, collector culture started
Yeah.
since then, and they're way more robust. And also what people are doing now is, even if you've got that DVD, you've slung it in the loft and you've got it on Netflix.
Yeah.
So actually, things like, it was like when I scanned a load of stuff in Music Magpie, the better something was, the less value it had to it.
sure.
Because
Yeah.
it's so like when you go through CDs and you go, Nirvana, Nevermind, one of the greatest albums ever made, is worth 10 pence because they sold 25 million copies.
Sure.
Yeah.
Every Led Zeppelin album's worth nothing. But then what's rare are the little, what have got value now are things where if you're really into a band, you buy these weird little things that only, and then they're such limited runs. I remember when I sold my DVD collection, I got about, and I just Music Magpied it because I didn't care, because I wanted a shot of it. I got over 150 quid for it, but most of that 150 quid was probably from about 10 to 20 DVDs
Right.
that just had enough value that they were prepared to give me like a tenner each for them because they were going to sell them for 20 or 25.
So massively popular films. Let's say, for instance, Marvel, they stopped making movies at the end of the Phase 4. And I know that's probably not going to happen, but they release a combined box set of all, let's say, 25 movies. And it's a nice still tinned like edition. You put that in the loft. You think in 20 years' time it'll be worth anything?
No,
So-
I think what we're forgetting here is that interaction again. So people want the earlier things. So your first press of your vinyl or your first press of a particular cartridge game or something like that. They came with, as Ross demonstrated, you've got all the physical extras with it.
Yeah.
And that sort of physical interaction with the whole process of it, the process of putting a vinyl on and it being the first pressing, this is the one you had when you were a teenager doing such and such a thing, and that putting that needle onto it, and then looking at the booklet and looking at the artwork.
You'd get that with a special edition DVD box
to
set
a
there.
point, but not many. I mean, a lot of it now. I mean, you look at a lot of DVDs now, you'll find it's just a cover and a plain disc on the inside with nothing else on it. And you'll see them all being recycled in Poundland
Yeah.
because there's no draw there. There's nothing there to draw you to the physical of that item. So maybe we'll get to the point where an actual download becomes, not as available, and then those copies, the actual digital copy of that download starts becoming sought after.
So this is kind of my point. So did we lose the collectability of DVDs, or did we lose the collectability of media at the death of VHS?
So I think it comes down to their availability, and like you said, I mean, if it's if it's not readily available. I mean, there's films I know. I'm a connoisseur of real shit films. So bad they're good. I love it. And there's so many on VHS still that have never been released on DVD. Probably never will be. That's part of their charm. That's part of their draw as well.
Like Gremloids.
Yeah, like Gremloids, exactly.
By the way, I saw the cover for that, and I want that as a poster because that just looks fucking fantastic. And I might actually track that film down and watch it.
It's bloody funny. You should track it down and watch it.
But again, it was that whole thing that all that became part of the ethos of those films. Was especially Video Nasties. They really cashed in on that whole thing, and you were buying into a genre, a club, a thing. And do you know what I mean? That whole kind of playground thing as well. You'd be swapping them at school, and you don't really get that. That's sort of gone now.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's now. You've watched it. Yeah, I downloaded it the other night.
You don't have to swap it with your mate because you can download it yourself.
Yeah, I've watched that.
So basically, if you want to look at Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Heart Club Band, that just wouldn't exist now, would it? You wouldn't put the effort into an album cover that they put into that.
That's very true.
Because even on CD, it was shit.
What, the cover?
Yeah, it needs to be
that large
the size
format.
it is.
They've just started reissuing them all through one of these monthly magazine type companies.
Yeah.
I've got...
You got most of them,
Yeah, I've got everything up into... Well, I'm up to date with it. So that's a nice collection. It's a nice bunch of stuff to have on vinyl.
See...
Then that's kickstarted our new vinyl collection. Our rebirthed collection.
What are you going to do? Are you going to collect from charity shops, though, or are you going to start...
Don't know.
Collecting them new from Sainsbury's?
No idea. I have bought a Cure album just recently for the other half for a birthday.
Oh, which one?
It was Head on the Door.
Oh, right, yeah.
It's got In Between Days on it, which is her favourite song. So, yeah, it made sense.
Good track.
But, yeah, that's the only new vinyl I've bought recently that isn't outside of the Beatles ones.
See, we've mentioned it before, but I mean, War of the Worlds on vinyl.
Oh,
Jeff
God,
Wade.
yeah, Jeff Wade.
That has to be on vinyl. That's incredible. The artwork and they're just sitting there with that on your lap as it goes from track to track, and you're flicking through the artwork.
Picture book for a lot of kids. Yeah,
it was because we've got it on both CD and vinyl, and there's smaller pictures in the CD booklets. Like no big one. Yeah,
just not worth your time.
Yeah, I've got it on vinyl. It's good. Very, very good. That.
The original vinyl with the booklet in good condition is probably pretty rare, though, isn't it?
I'd imagine so.
It was extremely popular at the time, so it's...
Oh, yeah, there could be quite a few copies lurking, yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing.
It's things like Star Wars is not worth much unless it's got the poster in it.
Yeah.
But everybody unfolded the poster and blue tacked it to a wall. Like, if you were a parent buying Star Wars on vinyl in 1981 or whatever it was, and your kid was like, I love Star Wars, put this poster up on your bedroom wall.
Yeah.
And that depreciates the value of that vinyl hugely.
Right.
And I bet War of the Worlds is the same.
Right.
Because you just read through that.
Yeah.
Cool. Right.
Should we wrap up? We didn't really decide anything, did we?
Are we going to miss physical media? Will it actually disappear?
It will decline. It will never truly disintegrate, I think. So, and again... There's a market for it. There will always be a market. There's been a market for such a long time. I can't see it changing. There will always be...
Will it always be a second-hand market from here on inwards, though? That's the thing.
I think culturally, we're moving towards a convenience rather than an interaction. I don't think the pace of life...
Millennials, let's face it, if you're a millennial, not really dissing you, but disposable... I hate disposable culture. I hate, to see things.
But it's the speed of life now, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's
the wrapped in plastic and thrown in the sea.
But at the same time, lots of them like going around the charity shops and, that's usually for clothes. But yeah,
it's because they won't work and they need the cheap clothing.
That's every generation.
But yeah, if we're carrying on at that pace, I think that's where we're heading. And unfortunately, that bleeds into all aspects of modern day living and future living. I think it's going to be convenience over interaction.
We've got other media types that are going to take over, though. We've got 4K Blu-ray. Are there any others?
How long will it take before that's a download? And then where's the Blu-ray is going to be the same as the DVD? Yeah. It's going to be, I don't want this loitering around my house. Get rid of it. It's on my hard drive.
So the only thing really holding up the manufacturers of physical media will be people's desire to have something to look at, something nice to have on the wall.
Pretty much. I think.
special
Even
edition
to
box
watch.
sets and things.
Yeah, but I still use all my copies. But yeah, no, like I said, just like vinyl, other machineries, there will still be a physical market. It just gets replaced every now and then. It'll just be
More expensive, perhaps.
and a minority.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, that's
Because
what I'm
less
going
is
to miss
being
about video
produced.
games, because I'm not going to get into... I already hate collector's editions.
Right.
I think I own two.
Yes.
I think
Yeah.
I've got the Fallout 3 one because it's a lunchbox tin,
Right.
Yeah.
and it was 20 quid when I bought it, and I bought one when I was really into World of Warcraft. I bought one of the big World of Warcraft one because they came with a nice art book, but I hate them,
Yeah.
and so I'm never going to get into them. I get annoyed. I've got one game, it's in a SteelSeries case. I hate it. I'd rather it was the normal one.
Really?
Do you know, I watched a thing, it was Ashins covers quite a lot of these on his YouTube videos, and he even mentioned that he got a few of these for his he was doing a review on these special editions, and they were cheaper to buy than the standard edition because nobody really wanted the special editions.
That can happen.
Yeah, they're so
if you just
popular
hang
with-
on, if you hang on, you'll pick up the collector's edition for less than new.
Yeah.
If the game wasn't popular.
Right.
Yeah.
But then other times, if a game's had a limited print run, then they'll already be astronomical. Like, I dread to think what the original vanilla World of Warcraft collector's edition goes for. Probably £500.
Right.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah, easy.
But then again, that's a property which is still really popular. You can't expect, like, for instance, I've got a collection of Gomez's first singles that they released with the nice card
Yeah.
CDs and stuff, and all of their first singles from the first two albums. They're of massive value to me,
Yeah.
but in 40 years' time, people aren't going to remember Gomez, and therefore they will be valueless.
Yep. I've got a few albums like that.
Yeah.
It's hand signed, limited press,
Beauty's
demo
in the eye of the
editions,
beholder,
and
isn't it?
there were just obscure bands that I loved and thought they were amazing, and nobody else did.
So the things to purchase and keep are the things that you know that people in the future are going to be after. So your big, massive movies, any like particular collector's prints from huge bands.
Do you know what? I
but
think
then who's to say?
just get what you love,
Yeah.
Yeah.
because then even if it doesn't become worth anything in the future, it's worth something to you. It doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Or save the planet and stop buying loads of crap made out of oil.
True. So we should go digital.
Yes.
100% go digital.
Yes.
Okay.
You're still all that electricity, though.
As long as
Yeah, but soon we'll be able to make that
plug straight into our
renewable.
heads.
as long as then in the future we don't end up with a digital bloody, let's say somebody puts a USB pen in a plastic case as a special edition of all 25 Marvel movies just because it comes in with a nice cover.
Yeah.
Just imagine.
Yeah.
I'll
Can't
swallow
happen, can it, surely?
I like when they re-release things. Like, it's relevant to physical... Well, I suppose it is relevant because it's physical media, but they've just done a 35th anniversary of Akira.
Oh, yeah.
All that manga in all the volumes of the manga reprinted massive with a hardback book in a box.
Wow.
And that looks cool.
Tell my missus about that, will you?
The USB
Christmas
thing
is coming.
you were just mentioning,
Yeah.
there's people out there already doing that.
Really?
Yeah.
I can imagine if it was like a statuette, actually.
No, not just a USB.
Right,
And the USB stick itself was limited edition, apparently.
right.
One of my favourite bands, well, I say bands, it's one guy, it's 9 Inch Nails.
Oh, yeah, Trent
And
Reznor.
you could physically buy his recent EP, limited edition run, on vinyl, or buy a USB stick.
Wow. Okay.
Okay.
That's it.
Amazing. I'm going to take a look in an HMV next time I get a chance.
Yeah.
We need to wrap up 'cause
Yeah, we
it's
do.
really late. But I just got one real quick thing I wanted to say. A company started... When indie games started coming out and they were digital only, weren't they?
Yep.
A company has started making physical versions of those games.
Okay.
And they're super rare because they just say, we're only going to make 1,000 of these.
Yeah.
Right.
They
They're the
did that
ones-
with Night
They're
Trap.
the ones you they're the ones you want to buy and just hang on to.
Cool.
And they're not very expensive because they're indie games. They sell them for 20, 30 quid and they're still making shitloads of money on that.
Yeah.
Nice. Cool. Right. That'll do. Let's wrap this one up. Ross, where can we find you, mate?
staring aimlessly at my wall of video games, going, "Oh, I can't even bother to lift one down to put it in my console.
I can download it because it's
I'll just-
faster.
Yeah.
Is it actually quicker to download a game? No, 'cause
No,
the big games.
It is
no.
quicker for me to... Right, say I wanted to watch Star Wars.
Yeah.
But I could walk downstairs and get the Blu-ray and put it in my Blu-ray player, yeah?
Yeah.
But then part of me would go, why not just rip it to my Plex server?
Yeah.
It would be quicker for me to go onto Pirate Bay and download the largest version of that film, like 25, 30 gig version of that, than it would be for me to rip and encode the Blu-ray to my Plex server.
Yeah.
So that's why I do it.
There you go. So you'll be lost in your Plex server this week. No, you won't. You'll be playing on your PlayStation, I expect.
Yeah, maybe. If I get out of here, I will. Not watching The Walking Dead tonight, am I?
Probably not.
Going straight
Just
into
thank
bed.
us for that later. That's fine. Paul.
Well, I mentioned on the previous podcast, which was out on Tuesday. So if you want to find me, I've been on there. You'll find out where you find me on there. Other than that, you'll find me at home with a pen in the spool of one of my audio cassettes, just trying to feed the whole bloody thing back in, all 8 miles of it. So, which used to happen on a regular basis to one of my favourite 808 State albums. There's retro for you.
828. 828 State.
808 State.
Wow. I remember
808
that
State
name.
XL album, and it used to always... It'd play all the way through, and I'd take the tape out, and the entire album had unravelled into the machine. I'd spend an hour taking it back out.
And
Got
it would
good
still
at
work?
though. Yeah. It happened about 12, 13 times. Beautiful.
Wow.
Still worked.
See, the age of analog.
Love it. Yeah. What about you, John?
Facebook, pretty much sharing the shit out of any events happening on the island, and yeah, that's probably where you'll find me.
Cool.
Cool. And then me, I'll be hanging out on the SNEW with the Crew Facebook page, editing this podcast, and generally answering any questions and stuff that people have for us on the Facebook page. So do feel free to drop us a line, podcast@thesnewnetwork.com, with any questions, recommendations, comments, anything at all.
Please just
Write in.
bombard
If
him.
you want to be a guest on the show or anything like that, let us know.
We do soiled pants. We'll mail them out if need be. Whatever gets you
No, shut up,
impressed.
Paul. Let's go.
Honourable mention.
This podcast got more endings than Return of the King.
Honourable mention, of course, for Libsyn and Sticher for hosting our podcast, and
Also available on vinyl and audio cassette now.
Yeah.
Thanks to Libsyn and Stitcher.
and my personal stuff. You can find Chris Quinton's music and things on Facebook
And on VHS.
and on VHS. And you'll find me every single Thursday night at the Vectors Tavern in Cowes, hosting a little open mic night. So if you sing or anything, come along, have a play. Right, let's get out of here, guys. Let's go and have some dinner. Thanks very much. You've been a listener. We've been SNEW with the Crew. Say goodnight, guys.
Hello. Goodbye.
Rewind.
Cheers, guys. Bye. Bye. Does it sound like you're listening to old time radio?